Hello. Welcome to Wake Up Less Anxious with Jim. The goal of this podcast is that after listening to each short episode, you feel a little less anxious. If you're experiencing anxious thoughts, crippling doubts, and any uncomfortable feelings, this podcast is for you. Here, I will be sharing some quick and easy tips to deal with all your uncomfortable feelings. Promise, hindi siya mabigat because, dealing with anxiety is hassle enough as it is. So, it's going to be a light conversation, and I hope these tips will help. Please support by going to bit.ly/lessanxious and joining our newsletter. Hey, Angstnatics! Another episode, and I think this one is very near and dear to me. Today, I will be sharing 3 tips how to deal with social anxiety. Okay? And to start, I guess I will give one of the most, and usually to mga social anxiety things, they usually end up giving you the most cringeworthy memories. Okay, so looking back at these things, and the funny thing, it's a cycle. You do something quote unquote stupid, quote unquote wrong, at a social event. It haunts you, kadire, cringe. And then therefore, in the next social event, especially if there's the same people around, it will claw at you. Parang it will it will tell you to be afraid because you might do it again. You might do something stupid again. So, okay. The first time I had a severe anxiety attack again was at a wedding. Okay, at a wedding that wasn't even my safe space with friends that I wasn't close to. So just imagine that. Okay, so the first time I actually had physical symptoms of anxiety. And again, the problem with anxiety is when it hits you, you don't even know that you're having a panic attack or you're being that it's anxiety. So therefore, it will double down. You'll panic even more. Your heart rate will race. And again, during this time, I knew nothing. And it wasn't even something that was talked about, So anyway, so we were at a wedding. And for the first time ever, my hands felt like there was electricity. Ganon. Everything had electricity. I put on my suit for the wedding and I couldn't feel myself putting on the suit. It was crazy. And then on the way to the wedding in the car, I felt that the car was flying off the road. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And it took me probably 2 hours before I told Saab, hey, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Okay, so can you help me out? So anyway, then again, I'm entering a social event with people that I'm not close to, and even to the people I'm close to. I mean, except for Saab and maybe my sisters, I would never go to someone and say it's not easy for me to say hey, I'm not feeling okay because I don't want, I'm usually I don't want people to be inconvenienced or stressed out or whatever. So anyway, I get to the wedding and there's this dude that hindi talaga kami close at all. And then for some reason, kasi everyone was dancing on the dance floor, and ako, I couldn't take it now. I started asking him, and it was the wrong person kasi talaga to ask. It was we had the jock energy na talking about your feelings is you never do that. So parang nakakatawa, he had this look of what the fuck are you talking about? Parang ganon. And it made me feel worse. Oh my God, I'm crazy talaga, I'm crazy. So, I think from that point on, nag-double yung anxiety ko for social events because in that moment, I felt judged. I felt, again, maybe the guy didn't mean to make me feel bad. It was just like, kasi it was like me saying, like, do you ever, nararamdaman ba ever yung parang, like, electricity, whatever, and then, again, hindi kami close, and he was like, what? Like, and, so parang, anyway, his face, kasi was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It stuck with me. And sometimes when you are feeling these things, sometimes you just need to hear or even see that, oh, someone is going through this, someone is experiencing this. Okay, so after that, every social gathering, I'm fearing that, oh my god, what if that happens again? And what if people can smell my anxiety? That's what I was anxious about. So like when, for example, saying hello or whatever, asking questions, I'm always like, because of that moment, I'm like, oh my God, I reeked of anxiety and weakness. Okay. So here are 3 things that you can do. How else can we manage our anxiety? I recommend the Mind You platform. That's genuinely reshaping how we approach mental wellness. They offer low-cost talk therapy sessions, but what I really appreciate is that Mind You offers a free toolkit for your mental well-being. From a community forum to a guided journal, a mood tracker, and even educational podcasts and articles, Mind You is a game changer in making professional help reachable and accessible. Download the Mind You app from the App Store or Play Store and explore a world dedicated to mental wellness. So here are 3 things that you can do if you share these feelings or you too deal with social anxiety. Okay. Number 1, you have to embrace vulnerability. You have to acknowledge that it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to show your true self to yourself. Okay? Because sometimes the battle actually happens in 2 layers. You're already trying to tell yourself, parang kumbaga, because you don't want to acknowledge na, hey, I have weird feelings. Hey, I have anxious thoughts, or I'm not perfect. So there's an internal battle, and then once you get to the social event, there's also a battle of you and what this person is thinking. So it's internal and external. So the first step is embracing the fact na, hey, no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. So everyone I meet here is not perfect. parang, kumbaga, no one here is perfect. That's what I meant, sorry. So therefore, coming in with that mindset, embracing the fact na, hey, I am, I have anxious thoughts. I'm weird. I'm shy. I have a tick when I get nervous. Embracing it and affirming yourself, I think, is the best quote unquote pre-game for any social event. Because you're aware that you feel these things, you're aware that these things go through your head, and therefore when pagdating mo dun, you kind of, wala nang surprises. You are teammates with yourself. So si Jim and outer gym and inner gym are like, okay, magkasama tayo dito, holding hands tayo. We are both very vulnerable. Let's go. Pasok na. Number 2. I think this will always be part of the formula, okay, here in Less Anxious, but it's reframing negative thoughts. It's before you go into your social thing, that most of the social anxiety, it comes from stories that we tell ourselves and how others perceive us. Okay? So, for example, if you go into a party thinking, or parang and it's ingrained in your brain na parang, let's say Jim is Gym is weird, or like gym is awkward, and gym, like I'm gonna try not to laugh at Jim because he's awkward. If you go in with that mindset, you know, it's your mind has already beat you. Okay? Kasi parang you can catch yourself thinking na parang everyone is judging you, but if you stop and listen to the thoughts in your head, it's actually you who's the most judgmental. So, reframing, basically asking yourself na these thoughts that I'm hearing, let's say you're weird, you're anxious, you're a fool. These things you could ask yourself, like, or you can, funny, when you imagine these people saying it, ask, is it a fact? Is it true? Are they assumptions? Did they really say this? Who said that? And then once you do that, then start reframing it to, let's say, reframing it with a possibility mindset. And you can listen to the previous episode to get what I mean. But if you go in there with, okay, I'm going to meet new people today. It might be awkward, but it's a new experience in life that I may never get again. And I'm excited to try it out and have these memories, new memories. So simple reframing prior to the social event would help a lot. Lastly, I would say it's mindfulness. And I have two emergency parang quick buttons. Like if you're in a social setting and you're weird, you're getting anxious and stuff. Two, number one, focus on your breath. Really, like think about your breath. Like, oh my God, ang sarap ng hangin in my nostrils. Or just don't zone out. Because like maybe, kumbaga, try your best not to zone out. Pero like, kasi when you're panicking, okay, your focus is all over the place. And most of the time, it's all over the place and it'll focus on your panic. So if you focus on something that's controllable, manageable, calming, like, oh, I didn't know my stomach goes in and out like that. Or like, oh, sarap maglagay ng hangin in my nose. It will calm you down. And then the second thing is, if you are socially awkward, ang fail-safe button is just ask questions. People love talking about themselves. So just ask questions. Yun na lang. There's no need for you to be the one to entertain. You're not there to entertain people. If you're there and you ask questions, how could you go wrong? Unless you're an asshole and you ask stupid questions. So basically, basic lang. Yun. Of course, I'm gonna go into more detail in future episodes. But just to summarize, again, be vulnerable, be okay. Affirm yourself. Number 2, reframe those negative thoughts as soon as you enter the party or the social event. And lastly, practice mindfulness and ask questions if you have nothing else to say. Yun. Again, I would like to thank you for your support. Please join bit.ly/lessanxious for more for updates basically on this pod. Thank you so much. Stay less anxious. Bye.